What is going on, everyone? AP over here at Rumpier Sports, bringing you once again the Strokes Gained Show. I'm here with my two main guys. We got Hoop. Hoop, what's going on in the one hole?
Oh, not much, man. We'll bounce back from the PGA Championship. Got dusted pretty hard over there last week, so we're gonna bounce back and find ourselves some winners this week at the old Charles Schwab. So yeah, definitely looking forward to the event this week.
Yeah, I had to put Hoop in the one hole. You know, he always stays on the Tuesday show. He doesn't, he doesn't switch. He's not a switch hitter going, back and forth, back and forth. We got Uncle T back on the right show. Uncle T, what's going on? How's it going? And honestly, we were all on the Wednesday show. I got yelled at by my wife because I guess I was being too loud. I don't know. I know we drank a lot, though, and we didn't, despite drinking a lot, we didn't end up on Phil Mickelson, did we?
No, we didn't. But before we get into that, you just said that Hoop's not a switch hitter. I really like to hear that. So I'm glad Hoop's on the right side of the team. And it's good to be back on with you guys this week to break down some golf. But no, you're right. I was with you, AP. We had maybe 10 or 11 of us on the Zoom or on the stream last, on the members stream last week. And it was a late one for Uncle T. I think we shut it down. I was maybe around 2:30 or so, 2:45. Yeah, answered the bell at 6 a.m. to get up to work. And all I remember my wife saying was, how'd the show go? I said, good. And she said, it sounded like it, meaning I think I might have kept up a few of those guys. But no, we had a good time. And no, it was a rough week for me. Same as Hoop, really. I had 6 teams last week. I had 4 of them actually make it 6 of 6. The other 2 were 4 of 6. But I just Xander and JT are the ones that really cost me. And then guys that we all kind of wrong were Danny Berger. We were split on Spieth and Bryson and guys like that. So on the weekend, where I was looking for those guys to maybe move up the board a little bit, it was the opposite. They kind of went backwards and went the other way. So it ended up being a losing weekend for me, which I haven't had a ton, to be quite honest with you, as far as golf goes. So Oosthuizen, Lowry, and Answer were guys that I was pretty heavy on. So those were my guys that I hit on. But boy, I missed on a lot more than I hit on. So how'd you do, AP?
Yeah, no, same for me. It was mainly a multi-entry week. I returned a little less than half my buy-ins, which, at least I returned something. I had no Mickelson. I had no Koepka, even though our boy Snyder all week was talking him up. I mean, and we all made fun of him. We all laughed. Yeah. And, props to Snyder. He did not move off of his play. And I give him mad props for that.
Third week in a row where we laughed at Snyder. All right, he comes in 3 weeks in a row, has these bold takes, and we laugh him off. I'm making a commitment to not doing that anymore. I mean, honestly, we owe Snyder an apology. He knows his shit and he follows this stuff closely. I'm not making that mistake anymore. Snyder, that was a fabulous call on Brooks Koepka last week. He had Rory at the Wells Fargo when all of us kind of laughed him off then too. I don't care what he says. He can say the most outlandish, crazy shit. I'm riding with Snyder from now on.
Yeah, I want to add one more thing, AP. If we're going to be stroking Snyder, I might as well continue on. And Hoop is right. We were all off of Brooks, and we owe him an apology. He got my apology in the form of $100 bills sent right to Schneider's wallet as Morikawa beat Bryson, which is our standing bet, which is the same one I think Big T's got. And honestly, boys, I as you know, I had a pretty good lead going into Sunday. Bryson started -2, and I think Morikawa was maybe +2. Morikawa goes out and shoots 68. And Bryson just completely fell apart and kind of quit on Uncle T. So it was definitely hurtful. I think he made up 8 strokes total on, between the two. But hey, I sent that over to Snyder. He was a happy fella, and it's all good.
Yeah, that was a problem. You saw with Rory too. Like some of these guys, when they know they're out of it, like guys that know they can win, if they know like they're out of it, it seems like they just kind of give up at times. And then you got these guys that are just fighting for that top 10, top 5, like Ricky Flower. I think didn't he slide in for a top 10?
Yeah,
I mean that's just incredible stuff.
Got our boy. I mean, before we move, we got our boy Bobby Gomes in here. Like, okay, we're stroking Snyder on there. He's making it sound like he was riding alongside with Snyder on all these calls. Bobby, get the fuck out of here! Come on, man. In this Chad Morikawa season,
wasn't Bobby?
You know,
Hey, Hoop, wasn't Bobby the guy that had like 100 people in his pool last Wednesday?
Yeah, he had 120 in his player pool and could name like 20 of them. I mean, get out of here.
Oh, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Again, if you are new to the show, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps us to keep this free for you each and every week. We are going to go and dive into
one more thing. I mean, it's easy to be on all Snyder's plays when you play the whole freaking field, Bobby. I mean, come on, it's easy to be on the plays.
Yeah, it really is. Was Bobby on Phil?
Oh, apparently Bobby is 4X everyone. Look at the chat. He is 4X Brooks, 4X.
How about the guy on the bet side who plopped down $100K on Phil at 300 to 1 to win? Incredible stuff. I mean, did you guys get that backstory at all? Like, is he a Phil homer or like I haven't seen it. Like I haven't talked to the guy or anything, but have you guys heard?
No, I mean, that was phenomenal. I put 1,000 on Phil. Phil at 300 to 1 brought home 300K. I mean, that's a ROI right there for sure. I mean, that's impressive. I haven't heard the story, but man, you do love to see it.
So hey, what are we drinking tonight, boys? Before we get into the golf, I mean, I got like this. Look at this. This is just absolutely mint, just perfect little drink just to get the mojo going. I'm very excited about it.
I do not. I have
standard red wine.
I have a Barks root beer in mine tonight.
Root beer, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
It's been a tough start to the week for Uncle T, so I had to go to the Barks root beer, laying off the Roman OJ. You guys got me drunk last Wednesday.
I mean, it's becoming there's like now a rotation for me of like 4 or 5 nights, and it's like I'm gonna give my body like 2 days, 3 days off. I mean, it's gonna be like that all summer. All right, guys, let's get into the golf. I'm going to kick it over to Uncle T. I love this week. I love this golf course. I think it's fairly predictable. Last year, we saw a stacked leaderboard. Uncle T, let me kick it over to you. We're down in Dallas-Fort Worth. Talk to us about the course.
Yeah, if you guys recall, this was the first event back after the COVID break. So we had about 90 days or so, which was maybe 10 or 12 events or so. And then they started back with this one. Morikawa missed, I think, maybe a short 3 or 4 foot putt on 17 or 18. It might have been on 18 that would have won it for him. He went into a playoff with Danny Berger, and Berger prevailed. So those are the two guys that were there towards the end. But no, this is one of the longest running PGA Tour events on tour, maybe 75, 76 years old. So it's one that's been around obviously for a long time. The venue has changed, but where they're at right now, I think they've been at for quite a while. The fairways are tight, very tight, and tree lined. So if guys do get a little bit off center as far as their tee shots this week, I think it will be harder for them to make par. You know what I mean? They're smaller greens as well. So, distance off the tee really doesn't matter as much to me this week as much as accuracy off the tee. So I think for the most part, the winning score generally is in the mid-teens. The course, like all these Dallas courses or Texas courses, I should say, their defense is the wind. So if the wind doesn't pick up, I see this getting, 15 to 20 under par. If the wind does pick up, it may be, 11 or 12 under par. So, I'm trying to think of a few other things. I think in this event as well, you need a good all-around game, which if you think about Morikawa and Berger last year, there are two guys that have that, for the most part. Morikawa's putter lets him down more than, it should for the talent that he has. I think he should be winning a little bit more on tour, as good a ball striker as he is. So I'm looking guys that, again, can get up and down around the greens, because usually the smaller greens means that, you don't have to worry about the bad putters as much, right? Because they're going to be chipping and putting off from around the greens. So I don't put as much stock in the bad putters this week. I might take a shot on, a couple more of the guys that struggle with the blade a little bit, hoping that they can get hot. And that's pretty much about it.
Yeah, very good breakdown. I do want to note one thing that's we're all gonna like. Our boy Chris Kirky won this event in 2015. So again, he fits the mold, ball striker, good around the green. And then anytime Kevin Na is going to be winning and then finishing very high inside the top 5 out of course, the greens are probably small, and that the around the green game is going to be one that we need to lean on. So if you're unfamiliar with our show, we go tier by tier when we're breaking it down, and we help you find the winners. Let's dive in. I'm going to kick it over to my man, Hoop. Hoop, talk to us about the 10K and up range.
Yeah, I'm going to first off note that I'm pulling a big T today. This is really one of the first times that I've looked at this field and the pricing and stuff. So you're going to get a raw analysis here out of the gate. That's how our boy Big T likes to roll. I'm stepping into his shoes a little bit. So at the top here, Spieth, JT, Morikawa, Patrick Reed, Berger. Okay, the first guy I'm crossing off, and that's going to be Patrick Reed at 10-3. I'm just not paying the 10-3 for Patrick Reed. Could cost me. I mean, he's been top 22 or better in 4 out of his last 5. That's fine. I definitely prefer all of these guys up here over him. The one guy I think I'm going to play for sure, Justin Thomas at 11K. I understand Spieth has been playing well, but to me, I don't think Spieth should be priced more than Justin Thomas. And it's only a $200 difference, but to me, still Justin Thomas is the superior golfer. Coming off the cut though at the PGA Championship, really never got anything going at all, which can be said for a lot of people. But I expect JT to bounce back. He's a guy that when he does miss cuts, he tends to bounce back rather quickly, and I like that about him. Berger at 10K, like we said, did he won it last year? Or was he was in the playoff? He won it?
Yeah, he beat Morikawa.
Yeah. So at 10K, I like Berger. Just seems like a course that sets up very well for him. 10K is a respectable price tag. You don't have to make a lot of sacrifices to make that work. The way I see this at the top, you can't really play all 3 of these guys 10-5 and above. So I need to make the decision between Spieth and Morikawa. Right now, I'm kind of leaning Morikawa, but I know for sure I'm going to be on Thomas. I know for sure I'm going to be on Berger, and I for sure am going to be off Patrick Reed. So it's just a matter of deciding what to do with Spieth and Morikawa, which one I want to play there. But I feel pretty good about the rest. Like I said, to me, in this field, Justin Thomas should be the most expensive guy. He's not at 11K, so I think he's probably my favorite up here. And the one thing to note is it's only a 120-person field, so more than half this field is going to make the cut this week, which makes the 6-6 percentage come up. So 6-6 percentage would be much higher than we've seen here in the past. So I think you can definitely get some exposure to these guys with comfort.
Yeah, very good breakdown. For me in this range, I really think the 11K and up guys are kind of interesting because we have a lack of value. The 6K range outside of maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 plays is very lacking. There's a lot of cuts that we can make. But Uncle T, talk to me about the 10K range. Are you playing Patrick Reed, or do you agree with Hoop? Are you on kind of the similar path as him this week?
Yeah, similar thoughts, but maybe a couple different takes on the top range. And you mentioned it a little bit there, AP, which is when I was looking at this earlier today, the stars and scrubs, if you wanted to go that route, which some weeks we do, right? We like a lot of those guys in the low 7 and even under 7K range. I didn't see a ton down there that I really liked, So based off of that, I am going to have exposure to these guys up here, but I don't know. I'm really torn because I know what's down below, and if you can obviously start your team with any of these guys, but when we get down below, you'll see what I'm talking about. But to start up top, Spieth, he's got 4 top 10s with a win in 5 trips here, his last 5 trips. You can't argue that. I agree with Hoop to the point that, even though it's only a couple dollars, you would feel like JT would be the top salary guy. But I'm probably going to go back to Spieth this week. He was just a little bit off last week. And I think, again, going back to this course where, he's played pretty well and pretty familiar, I'll probably go there. And honestly, I wouldn't say I'm off of JT at this point, but he's probably going to be the guy that I may cut. He just hasn't. I mean, AP, you and I like him as much as anybody, but if you go back, he's got a cut, a 26th, a 13th, a 21st, similar to what we were talking about DJ a few weeks ago. When these guys are 11K and above and they get us a 21st or 15th, I don't know what you guys think. That's not good enough for me. You know what I mean? And obviously he's really good. Hoop brought up a great point. I saw that earlier as well when I did my research. He bounces back nicely after missed cuts the last probably 6 months. He's always in the hunt. So I do get that. But I think I'm going to pass on JT this week, and it might come back to bite me. But Morikawa, I have no problem going back to Morikawa. Obviously, this course really does set up really well for him, especially, again, because the putting, I think, doesn't get as exposed as it normally does on the larger greens. So I like Morikawa this week. I'm out on Danny Berger. Kind of let me down a little bit last week. He, got in just underneath the cut line and just couldn't make a move. I had quite a bit of exposure to him. He's the defending champ. So usually I steer clear of those guys anyway. So it kind of makes the decision easy for me. I will be AP and Hoop on Patrick Reed. I will be on him. I think he'll be probably the lowest owned out of this group. Him and Berger, I think, will be two of the low owned guys in this area. He shot 5 under on the weekend at Kiowa last weekend, and that was tops in the field as far as combined score, -5. So, going here, he finished 7th last year. I'm gonna buy into some Patty Reed. I knew that wouldn't be a popular pick on this panel.
Yeah, I mean, I can't get on Patrick Reed. I get it. He's good around the greens. I don't like where his approach game's at, and I don't like where he's at off the tee. He's getting it done putting and around the green. And so I think he just gets so lucky. Like when you watch him putt, it's like watching Spieth a few years ago. It's tilting with how good he's running. And I don't like the guy. So
he's a hard roster. There's no doubt about it. If you take the name and who he is out of it and you just look at again, at least for me, he's finished 17th, 6th, 8th, 22nd. I mean, he's only 10-3. He's $1,000 cheaper than Spieth, $800 cheaper or $700 cheaper. I don't know. It might come back to hurt me, but I'm going to take a shot on Patty Reed this week.
Yeah, I mean, I can respect that. He's a cut for me. Daniel Berger, I think, is going to be a cut for me as well. The PGA, that was such a brutal test last week. His around the green game is struggling right now. And it's just, man, it's so hard to go back-to-back at places. You're the defending champ. There's a different type of pressure on you. You just see these guys struggle more often than not. And then honestly, it's like Colin Morikawa. It's just no one is striking the ball better than him right now. I mean, he's one of the best plays up top. He feels very safe. It feels like he's gonna, it feels like he's just gonna make every single cut and he's just gonna compete in every single event that he's in. And so I like him. Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth. So the issue is when you start to make your build this week, the value is really lacking when you get down there, even the 6K range. It's tough. So for me, I look at Justin Thomas. This guy he was tweeting more than anything I ever saw, like about Phil. I feel like that had to have fired him up, seeing Phil win, with how he was tweeting about it and everything. I know his game's close. The ball striking is there. The putting has been really bad. The around the green game is good. Is good. The driving off the tee hasn't been as good. So if this guy finds fairways, I think it's game over and I think he wins. If he doesn't, he's just going to have to battle. And it's going to be one of those things where it's just tough. But I do like how this course sets up for him. I think it's a great course fit. And I think I don't think he's going to be high owned at all. I think people are going to go to Jordan Spieth, Texas boy, Dallas boy, good course history here. I believe he's won here in 2016, second in first, second, 8th, 10th. I mean, course history here is phenomenal. So if you want some leverage, JT is going to give you that. And then there's Spieth, where it's just if we can nail some value plays, I think Spieth is a phenomenal play. Otherwise, I lean towards more of a balanced build. But You know, I got to say, like, if I'm doing a 1 and 2, I got to say Collin Morikawa just seems like the safer guy up here. And then I'm really between JT and Spieth. That's where I'm going to leave it. Hoop, did you have a favorite play kind of in this range?
Yeah, you guys kind of talked me off Berger a little bit, which I'm susceptible tonight. I mean, I don't have many strong takes, so I'm really leaning on you guys to carry me through this, making my initial cut. So I'm gonna circle back. I'm gonna say JT, and I'm gonna say, I guess Morikawa. I got to be on Morikawa. I mean, just playing phenomenal golf. Yeah, JT and Morikawa.
I like it. And one last note about JT. Man, I don't think this course is as long as a lot of the courses they've been playing. If he can just club down off some of these tees and find fairways, he's going to smash. Like, he's going to absolutely smash. Uncle T, your favorite play, Patrick Reed? Is that who it is?
No, definitely not. I'm going to be on Spieth and Morikawa as my top 2 guys. But again, I'm probably going to roll 5 or 6 lineups like I normally do. I will have one Patrick Reed build, but I definitely prefer Spieth and Morikawa. But I will have exposure to 3 of these guys up top.
All right, Uncle T, I'm going to keep it with you. Let's dive into the 9K range.
Yeah, the 9K range is really interesting because it starts off with my man Willie Z. Now, while I had at the Open, I didn't give you my outrights my head-to-heads last week and my matchups. I had Willie Z against Cory Cotter last week, and I won by 1 stroke. So it wasn't nothing to be real proud of because Cory Cotter's played really well. But Willie Z, guys, 9,900 feels like it's a couple $100 more, especially or even in a lighter field with not all the big dogs. But he's played in 3 majors so far, and he's got 3 top 10s in his first 3 majors: a 6th, a 2nd, and an 8th. Now, I know this isn't a major. What I'm saying is this guy's a big game player, and he's going to win his share of tournaments. I don't know if it'll be this week, but, there's nothing not to like about Willie Z other than if I'm playing 3 guys, again, with Spieth and Morikawa and maybe a sprinkle of Reed on a team, I'm probably not going to get the Willie Z at 99 and possibly not even to Abraham Answer at 97. And that really scares me because there's probably nobody in the field that's coming in better form and maybe even a better fit for the course than Abraham Answer. The problem is he's going to come in, I think, pretty high owned. And I think everybody coming off that, I think what he shoot 65 on Sunday at the PGA. So people will have that fresh in their mind. I think he could carry even more ownership later in the week than he does now. So I'll probably be out on him as well. I may decide, between those 2 and grab one of them. Tony Finau, AP, again, topped Uncle T again last week. Finau against Berger. So I'll let you talk about Finau. Scheffler is an interesting one. I haven't been on him the last couple of weeks, but last week he finished his 8th at the PGA, a really strong finish. Cory Cotter is the guy that I got interest in again. I think I'm gonna hop back on. I was off of him for a couple of weeks, thinking that I would see some negative regression, and I tell you what, he's proven me wrong, guys. He has been, he has been a ball striking machine, Cory Cotter. So for me, again, this is a course that sets up for guys that hit the ball like he does. So I'm going to be in on Cory Cotter. Joaquin Neiman is the guy I think I'm going to be in on as well. I'm not going to play Answer and Neiman, but I'm probably going to play Neiman 19 straight cuts. And he's pretty good with every part of his game, which at the top is what I said we need this week in Dallas. We need a guy that is strong in all facets of his game. And Joaquin Neiman right now is playing some tremendous golf. So I'll be in on him. I didn't play Woodland last week, and shout out to my boy Stevie Boynton. Him and I went back and forth, about 1 a.m. last Wednesday in Discord, and he was asking me about Woodland. And I said, I'm not on him, but feel free to play him. He stuck with him, and he did really well. You know what I mean? I think he faded a little bit on Sunday, finished T38, but he was in there for a couple rounds. Sungjae M, I was out on. And Kokrak, I think, is the one I want to get your all's opinion on because we've been on him quite a bit the last couple months, and I don't know what to do with him. So that's going to be my recap of the 9K group.
Yeah, I agree with you on a lot of these things. I think this range is so loaded, which is why for a little bit I was considering, maybe fading Spieth or Thomas. But again, before I get into that, I'm going to kick it over to Hoop. Hoop, let's dive into the 9K range.
Yeah, I mean, it's a range that has a lot of our favorites. I mean, when you don't consider the price tag, it's been a lot of our core guys over the course of the last couple months, starting with Answer at 9.7. I mean, Answer, kind of, disappointed for the first 3 rounds here at the PGA Championship, and then fires the best round of the day, 7 under on Sunday to finish T8. He's just solid and just playing very solid golf at 9.7. I have a hard time not playing him, which, DraftKings did a really good job with the pricing this week. They really did. And it's to a point where you're uncomfortable with your teams a little bit. And that's how it should be. That's definitely how it should be. So I really like what they did with this pricing this week. It's going to make it challenging. You have to make some cuts. And, Will Zalatoris is probably a guy that I'm going to have to cut, unfortunately, because of the price tag at 9.9. And I love Zalatoris. I think he could come out here and win. I think he's got a well-rounded game. Just can't play everyone, unfortunately. So he's going to be probably a casualty for me just because of the guys around him. Tony Finau at 9.6. I'm fine being off him. I mean, I don't think this is necessarily a great course fit for him. Same for Scheffler. I will be going back to my boys, though. I mean, these are some guys that we've been riding for a while. Cory Cotter's at 9.4. Neiman at 9.3 just makes cuts. I mean, not only is he a cut maker, he offers the upside, too. He has winning upside. So, Connors, Neiman, and I'm going to be back on Kokrak. I mean, I just continue to play Kokrak. Really hasn't disappointed. I mean, he was 7.1K last week. He finished 49th. Like, that's not great. That's not anything you're super excited about. But he made the cut and had a middling finish. Bad round, round 4. I mean, he was fine up until that 4th round, 77. Some guys shot some decent rounds on Sunday. He shot a 77. It's going to bump him down a little bit. So those are the guys I'm going to be on in this range. I mean, like I said, I'm going to have to be off Zalatoris and Finau and Scheffler and Woodland. I guess Im is a guy could be talked into at 9.1K. When he makes the cut, his finishes are typically pretty damn good. I mean, 17, 28, 21, 17th, 8th, 13th, 29th, 17th. So if he makes a cut, he's typically right there, right where you wanted to be. So Im could be a guy that I end up being talked into here.
Yeah, so the Zalatoris comments are really interesting. I agree with you. You can't play everyone. You have to make cuts. I do, the course fit is like almost perfect for him, except for like around the greens, but he rarely misses greens because he's such a good ball striker. So that's a decision point because I do like him. I have interest, but man, 9.9 is a big price tag to pay for that guy. Abe Answer, man, the guy's smooth, coming off 5th, 2nd, T8. I mean, and he has, T14 last year. He's always finding fairways. His approach game is good. The thing that you should really like about him right now is his putter is hot. So he's going to be making putts this week. I think he's a phenomenal play. Cory Connors, let me just skip down to him before I go back up to some of these guys. Cory Connors, I feel like if we fade Zalatoris, we go to Connors. Very similar games. They set up very well with each other. Cory Connors almost made another ace this last week at the PGA Championship. He's done that like twice in the last month, it seems like. I mean, it's just ridiculous how close this guy hits it to the pin. It's just insane. So I have a ton of interest in him. He's playing just some incredible golf. Has good history here, a T8, a T19. Love Connors this week. Neiman, same thing. Like, he's hitting the ball good iron player. Not as good around the greens, but he's a top-class player. Gary Woodland. So I played Gary Woodland last week. His game is trending in the right direction. This guy is really starting to play some golf. And it's the approach in the iron game and the ball striking game. He's been not so good off the tee, but if he can keep it in play this week, you got to like his chances. Like, I think he's a tournament play only, but you got to like where his game is trending. I agree with you guys on Sung Jae and Kokrak. Like, I don't play Sung Jae a lot, but man, like, there's things in his game. So he's always been a good putter. Like, Sung Jae has always dominated on the putting surface. He's always been decent around the greens. Off the tee has gotten phenomenally better, and it seems like the approach game is starting to get there as well. Sung Jae, you got to think, has to be a phenomenal play. T10 last year. And this is what, like, my problem and why I might end up cutting Spieth and JT is I like so many guys in this range and you can't play them all unless you cut Berger, unless you cut Reed, JT, Spieth. And I might even take it a leap further and cut Morikawa. If I cut them all, then I can load up on the 9K range and just go all in on all these guys and hope that one of these guys wins and maybe beats out this 10K and up range. It's something I'm definitely considering this week. Spieth, Thomas, scary fades, especially, the thing that would hurt me the most is if I fade Justin Thomas and he wins, I would probably cry that night, and it's just going to be very painful. Tony Finau. So, I don't think a lot of people are going to play him, and I like where his game is trending too. Like, he's struggled off the tee. I think he can club down on a few holes out here, which is going to help him. If you take away his off the tee game, which used to be the strongest part of his game, everything else is clicking right now. Very good around the greens. He ranks 7th in the field. Very good on approach. He ranks 11th in his last 24 rounds. Ball striking, tee to green, very good. Putter is trending in the right direction. And he's coming off a very, very good finish. T8 last week on a brutal golf course. So I like Finau. I think he's going to be a tournament play. And I actually think he's relatively safe. So, and I don't think a lot of people are going to play him when he's right there under Abe Answer, and he's right above Scheffler and Connors. So for me, I'm going to say, it's tough for me to give my 1 and 2, but I'm going to say Abe Answer, and I'm going to say Tony Finau. Uncle T, what was your 1 and 2?
Yeah, before I get to that, you make a good point about Finau, and his last 9 events, he's got 3 missed cuts, but when he makes the cut, he's got 6 top 14s in the 6 of 9 made cuts. Yeah. Your point, though, but the 3 missed cuts worry me because I'd like to see him be a little more consistent than that, as good a golfer as he is. But yeah, he's definitely got upside. So I do like that pick. And your thought process, AP, with what you mentioned as far as possibly fading the whole 10K range, I don't mind that at all. It's going to be hard to do that, but you're right. If we do that and somehow the winner doesn't come from that top group and it hits in this 9K range, I think you might be onto something there. So I definitely agree with your thought process there. But for my 1 and 2 here, this range, I'm going Joaquin Neiman, and then my number 2 is going to be Cory Cotter.
Yeah, I like that. And I know I can talk hoop into some Tony Finau. I know he's a Finau guy. What was your 1 and 2?
Finau's hurt my feelings. I love Finau, but I mean, he did bounce back last week, so we'll see. Maybe get the things going again here. Connors and Answer.
I like it. Hoop, I'm going to keep it with you. Let's dive into the 8K range.
Yeah, so the 8K range is finally a range where I feel pretty good about the guys I'm going to be on. Charlie Hoffman, we've been riding him for a little while, and the results have been more than impressive. Going back to the AT&T Pebble Beach, 7th, 52nd, 10th, 17th, 34th, 2nd, 18th, 18th, 17th. Charlie Hoffman might be one of my favorite plays in the field here. I'm going to be all over Charlie Hoffman at 8-7. Ryan Palmer at 8-6. He's a guy we've been on a little bit, but you really look at it, and he has just not been all that impressive. And a lot of times he has a elevated price tag. They say he plays better in Texas. Maybe he's just not very good. I'm starting to realize. I don't know. I'll probably be off Palmer. I mean, I really like Hoffman at $100 more. I just can't. I don't think I can go to Palmer over Hoffman in any of my builds. Matt Wallace, I mean, we talk about Matt Wallace here every week. The end result last week was not great for Matt Wallace. He finished 55th, had a really bad round 3. If he just has an average round 3, much better finish. Probably, if he shoots, what if he shot a 77? If he shoots 73 that day, he's going to be, top 30, top 20. I'm going to be back on Matt Wallace here. I mean, that Saturday round was a lot of people had bad rounds then. So Matt Wallace, Tringali is the interesting one. I'm curious to see what you guys think on Tringali. We've been playing him a little bit. Had, I think, the worst 3-hole stretch we've ever seen on the PGA Tour. That was world-class meltdown. To throw him off his game, it's possible. I mean, that was so bad where, this could set him back for months, and that was terrible. So curious to see what you guys say on Tringali. I'll be right back on Harman at 8K. A very similar performance to like Justin Thomas. They both finished 6 over, never got anything going. Just very blah performances all around. I'm going to give him the pass, though. This course fits him much better this week. He's very solid around the greens. I'm definitely going to be back on Harman. So my main guys here are Hoffman, Wallace, and Harman. I feel really good about all 3 of them.
Yeah, I like that. I feel way more confident about the 9K range, but I do think there are some really good plays down here. Uncle T, what about you? How do you feel about this range, and what are you doing with some of these guys down here?
Yeah, at the top, at the top, Justin Rose, 8,900. I'm hearing him getting talked up just a little bit this week, the podcast that I've listened to and the research I've done. I'd be kind of leery of playing Justin Rose. He does have an 8th and a 7th sandwiched in between him or around.
Wait, Uncle T. Wait, real quick. I'm not meaning to interrupt you, but wait. I haven't listened to any podcasts this week. I just, I'm trying to do my own thing. But people are talking up Justin Rose. Tell me about that. Like, what are people saying?
Talking him up. They mentioned him a couple times because, and like I said, you kind of didn't let me finish. Like, he's got 2 top 10s his last 3 starts, and he's coming off of an 8th place finish at the PGA. But if you dig in a little bit deeper, think about this. He gained 11 and a half strokes on the green this week or last weekend. Think about that. There is no way that's sustainable. No way in the world. That's probably one of the highest, and I don't get caught up in a ton of that unless it's something that's off the charts like that was. So I would be guarded with my optimism on Justin Rose is what I'll say. Where's he getting talked up? No, they were mentioning him as a guy coming off of maybe getting his game back in form. So I'm not going to be on him. Billy Horschel is a guy that's interesting to me at 8,800. He's a ball striker, and that's what I want on this course. He can run hot and cold. But last week, I think he finished, I'm not sure what he finished on Sunday. He finished 23rd, but was in there playing some good golf. Charlie Hoffman, Hoop mentioned it. Charlie Hoffman is a guy that's having, if you can have a breakout season at his age, he's been on tour for quite a while, but man, he's playing some of the best golf of his career. And I think his confidence is just soaring. So I will buy back in on him. Definitely not going to play Ryan Palmer. Phil Mickelson, I'm a little shocked didn't withdraw. I think Louis did withdraw from this tournament, obviously, was initially in. A little surprised Phil's playing. Maybe it's something to do with some sponsorship stuff and obligations and why he didn't want to back out after the big win. Kevin Na, I'm out on. Kevin Strielman. Guys, was there a more surprising guy in the top 10 last week than Kevin Strielman? I mean, we've been on him. We've been on him a little bit in the last couple of months in certain tournaments because, he's really a good value guy. But boy, an 8th place finish last week. But I don't think this is the type of course that will set up good for Strielman. So I'll be out on him. Matt Wallace, you hit the nail on the head with Matt Wallace. I mean, I think I've played him 5 straight weeks, and I'm just going to keep playing him. Like I said, he faded a little bit with that round on Saturday, but again, I'm not going to hold that against him. So the Tringali one's interesting. He was 2 under on Thursday. Like Hoop said, he had a 4-hole stretch where he had a 10 in there that looked like one of my scorecards with a 10. But he shot 82 on Friday to miss the cut. So, but I'm gonna stick with him, Hoop. I'm gonna go back in on Tringali because I just think, even though that was a big letdown, and you're right, that could scar him for a couple of weeks if he lets it. But I think he's been playing too good a golf overall, and I'm gonna buy back in on him. And Brian Harmon, I don't have a strong take on this week for some reason. So probably going to be out on Harmon unless you guys can talk me into him.
Yeah, so surprised by Harmon, but we'll get to that. I got to start with Charlie Hoffman. I think he is the best play in this range. His last win was in Texas in 2016, the Valero Texas Open. Guy loves Texas, dominates these Texas courses. And look, the other thing too is Charlie Hoffman's an older guy. Like he's not a young guy on tour. If you're in his shoes and you see Phil win a tournament like that, it has to be motivating. And you're playing, and then you see Stuart Sink win earlier on in the year too, and you're playing some of the best golf you've ever played. I think Charlie Hoffman has legit win upside this week. He's definitely going to be an outright that I am on. I don't even know what his odds are, but they got to be decent. I love him. He's my favorite play in this range, and I'm glad both of you are on him as well. He's going to be
like
very
35 to 1-ish, by the way.
35 to 1. Okay, perfect. So yeah, going up to Justin Rose. So he does have phenomenal history here, but he played it in 2010, 18, 19, 20. He went T71 in 10. He won it in 18, T58 in 19, and T3 last year. I don't want to play Rose, and if he's going to be chalkier or more popular, like, I don't know, more reason for me. Now, I'm going to believe in the zigzag theory. Like, he sucked, he won, he sucked, he got third. Hopefully he sucks this week. And yeah, I agree with you, Uncle T. Like the putter gaining 11 strokes, he's not even known as to be a good putter. That's just a lot of luck right there. So I'm going to be off him. I like the Billy Horschel call. He's got some good history, obviously, in Texas. Obviously, that match play event with Sammy Burns has to be a confidence booster for him. I think his price is fine and fair. His putter's trending in the right direction. Ryan Palmer, I'm off. He's a Texas guy, but I'm off. I just think his game, he needs to be in the 7K range now. Like DraftKings, his price is just too high. He's not playing the type of golf that we need him to be playing. Phil, I'm off. This is the victory tour for Phil. He's going to go out there. He's going to have his coffee mug. He's going to be out there, promoting his coffee, high-fiving people, giving a thumbs up. He's going to be hitting bombs all week, and I don't think he's going to care at all what happens. I think he's just going to go out there, hit bombs, and really not give an F. So I'm going to be off Phil. Kevin Na, I'm going to be off of him, but man, he's won here before. He's gotten a fourth. He's a wizard around these greens. If I land on him, I land on him, and it's fine, but he's not like a priority for me. I love the Matt Wallace call. Kevin Strielman, Striel Daddy right there at the end. He's a guy I'm looking at closely. I haven't made a decision. I feel like he definitely overperformed last week, but I will say the Wells Fargo, he finished T26. That is a course where you need precision. You got to hit fairways, you got to hit greens. And so I honestly, he might be in my pool, and I might actually cut Tringali to add in Strielman. So like Tringali, I don't know. I'm kind of torn. You guys did sell me on him a little bit, but I might have some recency bias in my head watching that 4 or 5 hole stretch, whatever it was last week. It was just absolutely brutal. But he's missed 2 cuts in a row. I don't like that. I don't like missing the cut at the Wells Fargo and the PGA. But he does play good in Texas. He had a T9 at the Valero. And I know that now we're getting him at a decent value relative to where we know his game can be. So he's definitely one of those guys that's interesting for me. And then I like Brian Harmon. I think it's a fine course for him. He's got a lot of history here. He's made at least 5 cuts in a row. He has a couple top 15s, top 20s. He has a top 10, T25. So yeah, I think Harmon is definitely a fine play. But my favorite play, hands down, Charlie Hoffman, and it's not close. Hoop, what about you? Favorite play in this range?
Yeah, it's definitely Hoffman. One of my favorite players in the field, 8-7, playing phenomenal golf. I expect him to be contending here this week.
I like it. Uncle T, your favorite plays in this range?
Yeah, I'm going to make it a clean sweep all across here. I really like Hoffman as well. And again, we've said all the things we need to say. Again, I'd be shocked. And Hoop, to your point earlier on one of the guys, I think Hoffman is really safe. I really do. I just feel like he's one of the more safer guys, in the field. And $8,700, I think, is a really good price tag on him. So Hoffman, my number one, and I'm going to go Horschel by a little bit over Wallace as my number two guy in this area.
Yeah, I like that. If you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps us to keep this free each and every week. Uncle T, I'm going to keep it with you. Dive into the 7K range.
Yeah, you want to take it 75 and up maybe, or you want to take the whole range?
I say the whole range. I mean, okay. I just, keep it going.
Yeah, let's do it. The 7K range, this is where we start to get the guys in this field where I wouldn't say they're necessarily uncomfortable. There's a lot of guys playing well, but a lot of these guys we're seeing and going to talk about, these are guys that have been in the low 7K and in some cases high 6K range. So we're paying, again, relative to the field, we're paying a little bit more than we're used to seeing them. And it starts with Brandt Snedegar. I got on him back at I think it was the Valspar. The Valero in early April. He finished T6, and I've kind of played him all but 1 week since then, and he's not let me down. At T17, T11, T42, and that T6 at the Valspar or at the Valero. So I kind of like me some Brandt Snedegar. Griot is a guy that if he could ever put 4 rounds together, I feel like could win some tournaments on tour. He's one of the better iron players in the world. He's coming off a miscut here last year, but prior to that, he has some good course history. So I don't mind him. Matt Jones is a guy that could be a sneaky win play this week to win the tournament. I think I've got him 66-1, but he's just been playing some really good golf as well. And I think, again, similar to some of these other guys, once they get their confidence a little bit, like Hoffman and like Tringali and guys like that, it feels like they just kind of take off and start playing a lot of good golf. And Matt Jones has really played a nice stretch of golf, won back at the Honda. So I don't mind Matt Jones. And then I skip out on a couple guys. I'm out on Mitchell, Poulter, Lee withdrew. Kirk is an interesting one. I'm going to probably defer to you guys on that because I got off Kirk when he, I think, kind of started his downslide. He missed the last couple cuts. I don't know what to do with him. Kutcher, you guys, this will be the play that you guys laugh at me. I think I'm going to buy back in on Kutcher at 7,600. The tournaments that he has made the cut. So he missed the cut at the PGA, the Masters, and the Players. But the other tournaments he didn't miss the cut: T17, T18, T12, and then a T44. So I think this is the type of course that he can fare well at. So I'm going to be in on Kutcher. As you go down, I'm going to skip a couple. Uline is an AP guy from a couple weeks ago. I like Peter Uline a little bit this week. I think the course sets up really well for him. Sergio, I just need to see some form. I just can't buy back into Sergio. Brandon Grace was in the hunt for a couple rounds last weekend and then faded like a lot of them did on the weekend. So I'll probably be out on him. And I think we go all the way down. You see, I think I got interest in Taylor Gooch down there at 7,300. I like Gooch this week. And then one guy I think that we could start to see some better golf out of, and we saw it already. I think Doc Redman's going to start playing a little bit better golf. So I'm going to buy in hopefully buying in low on Doc Redman. Let me pull up his game log. T9, a cut, T39. So nothing great, but I feel like Doc Redman is a guy that on this type of course can play well. Harry Higgs was an interesting guy to watch over the weekend. He's just a fun kind of guy to play around the golf with. If you watch some of the highlights and stuff, he's a bigger fella and he plays hard. And I kind of like Harry Higgs this week. He's kind of growing on me as the week's kind of gone on and watching him last week. So I'll be in on him. Down in this low 7K range, I really don't like anything. Sepp Straka possibly. But no, I don't know. That's about all I got on the 7K range.
Yeah, you hit on two guys I'm very high on this week, so that makes me feel very good. Hoop, let me kick it over to you. What are you doing with the 7K range?
Yeah, I'm going to surprise Uncle T and piggyback a couple of
let's go, Hoop.
Coming on board. You're going to see. All right. First, for sure, I'm on Griot, 7.9K. Played him last week, and really bad round one, battled back round two to make the cut, and had a really solid fourth round and got his way back into T38. The course sets up well for him. So I'm definitely going to be on Griot. I have some interest in Matt Jones. Chris Kirky, I think the ownership comes low. I mean, we've been on Kirk a lot. He's really hurt our feelings the last two events, missed the cut at both. He's not going to be highly owned. We're not going to have to allocate a lot of ownership to get over the field on him. So I'm going to give Kirky another chance. And it's not going to be like a core play or anything. It's not going to be a highlighted play. It's not going to be a big ownership play, maybe 10% or so, Chris Kirk, and that should get us over the field. Matt Kutcher is a guy I've been off of for a long time. I'm hopping back on with Uncle T this week, 7.6K. This is a course that should suit him well. I mean, the course last week, he was never going to play well at the PGA Championship. At that course, he's drawing dead before the thing even starts. Matt Kutcher, no chance last week at a course that's 7,800 yards. Played terrible, obviously. I'm going to be back on him, though, this week. I haven't been on him in a while, but I like what I've seen in some of these events where he's made the cut and competed. Sergio, I mean, is the name down here. I mean, 7.5K, Sergio just seems like he is, in a range here where he is a much better golfer than all these guys. But, man, he is a guy, when he starts missing cuts, they just pile up. And right now they're piling up 4 straight missed cuts. Now, the one thing that could work in his favor, missed cut at the Masters, a strong field, missed cut at the PGA Championship. I'm with Uncle T, though. I got to see something before I can play Sergio. Harold Varner is a guy I have interest in, though. 7.4K, middling finish last week at the PGA Championship, T49. But he is a guy that he has upside. Second at the Heritage, 20th at the Honda Classic. When he makes the cut, he tends to be competing a little bit. Scott Stallings is a guy I've been riding a little bit. It's worked out well. He's been playing some solid golf. I'll give him another look here at 7.4K. Taylor Gooch might be one of my favorite guys in this range. He's a cut maker. He makes a lot of cuts. He's made, it looks like, 7 out of the last 8 maybe. Yeah, 7 out of the last 8. That's a good number. 7.3K. You want a guy that makes the cut and makes a little, noise on the weekend, maybe, improves his standing on the weekend. I think he does that here. I think he makes the cut. And this is a much weaker field than he's even been playing in. This is one of the weaker fields we've seen in a while. Once you get out of that 9K range, 9K and below, things get real nasty here. So I think he can definitely compete here. Doug Gim is a guy I've been on, but you know what? I'm just done playing him. He did, what was the event? The Players, right? Where he was there and literally pooped his pants on Sunday. He literally looked like he was shitting down his leg. I'm just done with Gim. He just hasn't got anything going since. Doc Redman. Okay. I was a big Doc Redman guy last year. I loved playing Doc Redman. The game turned to complete dog shit. I mean, just awful. We're seeing signs now, and we're starting to see him maybe turn a corner a little bit. Won't have a lot of ownership, but you can play similar to Chris Kirk. You don't need to allocate a ton of ownership to him. You can easily get over the field. I'm going to play him a little bit.
Hoop, can I interrupt?
Pat Perez. I've been on Pat Perez for a couple events here, and the results have been fine. 29, 26, 39. I mean, you'll take that out of a guy in the low 7K range. I think this course fits him well. I think he makes a cut. So I definitely like myself some Pat Perez, and that will about do it for me in this range.
Hoop just totally denying Uncle T. Trying to cut in, trying to interrupt. No, Uncle T, you can't interrupt Hoop. What are you trying to do there?
I tried to throw a flag. It was only to help.
Hoop talks fast. It's hard.
I want to hear this though. I want to hear this. It was right when you were talking about Doc Redman.
No, I just want to circle. Yeah, I just wanted to circle back a couple points that Hoop made. Hoop, I think in AP you might be able to pull it up. I can't right now, but the Kirk ownership I'm seeing over 20%. So unless I'm wrong, he is
really got 15. No, it's 15.
He said
a little more than
because he won here. It's because he won here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And not to
I still don't think it's that high.
Okay. And then the other comment was, and you made a good one. Wasn't it about this time last year, maybe June, when we started getting on on Doc Redman? And
boys,
Oh,
I like
go
where
ahead,
your
I'll let
minds are at. Boys, I like where your mind's at. Doc Redman. So I was on him in his last event, and he smashed. Like I had him high ownership. I missed the other pieces. We're getting on him again. He is by far the lead candidate for the workbench play of the week this week. I love Doc Redman. Crushes these Texas courses. He looked good when he played. There's a lot of video highlight. Cameras were following him because he was out there in contention at the Byron Nelson, which was an easier course, I will say. But he hung with everyone. I want to hop on him now. The irons look good. Let me just pull it up real quick. At that event, he was phenomenal tee to green, phenomenal off the tee, and good on approach. And his putter was good too. So I have a ton of interest in Doc Redman. I think he's one of my favorite plays down this range for sure. So I'm happy both of you mentioned him because I didn't think you guys would. I think he's going to go really low own this week. I think sub 5% for sure. I mean,
I feel like
I'm not good at ownership.
I feel like that's a slide on me and Hoop, that we weren't smart enough to maybe do a reset.
We're not sharp enough to get there. We're not sharp enough to land on Big Doc.
You guys did. You both mentioned him though. What are you talking about? Let me start. All right. So the other play I really like this week is, and I believe both of you mentioned him as well, Brandt Snedegar. I don't remember who it was, but maybe it was you, Uncle T. You started getting on him, and I think I probably made fun of you or laughed at you. But man, this is a guy that at these par 70 courses, he has a 59 at. He just dominates these par 70 courses. His game is trending in the right direction. You're just going to see them going through the course, smile on his face, chipping in, making long 40, 50 footers. And when he does that, he just gets hotter than anyone. So I have a ton of interest in him this week. And I believe, so he's made 1, 2, 3, 4 cuts in a row, and he hasn't missed a cut here in a long time. He's a T2 here in 2015. So love me some Snedeker, love Griot. The thing about Griot, he used to miss a ton of cuts, and his putter used to be really bad. His putter's actually not been too bad. So the only lacking in his game is around the greens. But every other category that we're looking at this week, good drive, approach, ball striking, tee to green, all ranks very, very highly inside the top 10 in every single one of those categories over the last 24 rounds. Love Grillo this week. I think he's a phenomenal play. And then for me, it goes down to Kirky. Love Kirky. I'm hopping back on him. Nice rebound spot after 2 missed cuts. And he's back in Texas. He finished 6th at the Valero Texas Open and 7th at the RBC the following week. So, and he's won here. So I'm on him. And all right, boys. So the other play that I was talking about, that Uncle T, you're like, you guys are going to make fun of me for this play. Matt Kutcher. I'm on Matt Kutcher. I love Matt Kutcher this week. He got his game back at that. I think it was the match play, or it was the what was that other event? The tournament where you're playing heads up against everyone. It was one of those events. Okay, well, I mean, same difference down south. I mean, pretty close. So yeah, Matt Kutcher missed a cut last week. Was good at the Byron Nelson RBC and T12 at the Valero Texas Open. Plays good in Texas. Has played good at this course outside of last year. But look, last year his form sucked. I don't think this guy probably worked on his game much at all, like that offseason with COVID when things were shut down. And it's showing. He was so bad then. Like, he was terrible. But now he's starting to trend in the right direction. The things are coming back. So I think it's a good time to hop on him for sure. I'm not playing Lee Westwood. I'm not playing Siwoo Kim. Oh man. So I already in Discord, I was talking about Pete Uline. I'm like, man, I can't say I've made him the workbench play of the week twice since he's been back on the PGA Tour. It hasn't panned out. The guy continues to crush the Korn Ferry Tour, like continues to just crush it. This is a course where he has good course history, and I think it could boost his ownership just a little bit because he has a T13, T14. And honestly, like the thing about him is this course doesn't even set up that well for him. So I'm really torn on what to do. He's not going to be a core play for me. He's not going to be a workbench play. I'm not going to fade him, though. I'm going to have a little bit because I know that he can pop here. I know what he's capable of, and I know he plays good in Texas, which is why he was a workbench play at the I think Byron Nelson. I think he missed cut. And where else was he at? I can't remember where else we had him at. But anyways, I'm going to have a little bit of him. I'm not playing Sergio. I just think his game sucks right now. And, I'm going to keep it at that. And Stallings, which, who we were talking about him, a while back. His game is starting to really turn a corner. He was a guy that I think it was last year, where he was so consistent cut maker, was always there at T20, T30 or better, and he always paid off his price tag. So I have a ton of interest in him. Gooch, I'm not going to follow up comments there. You guys hit him, perfectly. He's a very safe play. I think if you're a cash player, right, Hoop, like probably someone you can feel very good about having in your build. Doc Redmond, we talked about. One guy we didn't talk about that I absolutely love as well, 7,100. He's another Texas guy. He's another guy with a T10, T20, T6, T14, all within the last 5 years. He was another guy that's up there. I have two guys, workbench consideration. One of them's Doc Redman. The next one is Rory Sabatini. He always pops in Texas, always plays good down here. Coming off a T26 at the Byron Nelson, T30 at the Valero Texas Open. 2 Texas tracks. Now we go back to Texas again. This is a guy where, I think he's very safe too. Like I would almost take like a bet straight up, against like a Taylor Gooch, to place higher just because of how good this guy is for some reason in Texas. So I love Rory Sabatini. You could throw Pat Perez in there too. He's been playing better. Good ball striker. Good buddies with Phil too, I believe. A guy that like I don't know. I feel like some of these guys, they see a buddy, see a peer, or like an old guy win. It's just going to boost their confidence. Pat Perez is right in that category. But for me, you know what I'm going to do? We got some easier plays up top. I'm going to say my top 2 favorite plays are Doc Redman and Rory Sabatini down in this range. Uncle T, what were your 1 and 2?
Mine are going to go up top, even though the more we talk through these, as opposed to when we started the show, guys, I've actually kind of come on board with a few more of these guys in the 7K range, which makes me feel a little bit better about my possible builds this week. Because coming onto the show, I didn't like as many of these guys. So I do like that. But up top in the 7K range, I like both the guys. I like Emiliano Griot, number 1, and I like Brandt Snedegar, number 2.
I like it. Who?
I'll go down low. I'm gonna go Taylor Gooch, number 1, and then Pat Perez, number 2.
I like that. Hoop, I'm gonna keep it with you. Let's dive into the 6K range.
Yeah, I mean, another week where we're going to struggle to find options down here. And I know, AP, you kind of alluded to the fact maybe going a little lighter, potentially fading the top end. And a lot of that has to do with this weak 6K range. And it's pretty weak this week. And I most likely, when I build my teams, will try to end in that lower 7K range, because I do have a few guys that I like there, but guys that potentially are in the player pool, and there's only 1 or 2 guys I'm fully committed to playing down here, but maybe we go back to Warrenski, back-to-back good starts. He made the cut at the PGA last week. He treated us really well, a couple months ago, kind of got away, 4 missed cuts, but back-to-back made cuts. The Wells Fargo, tough event, tough field. He made the cut, 37th. PGA, again, tough event, tough field, T38. He's potentially going to be in the player pool this week. Come down a little bit more. I mean, Chase Seifert's the guy that we've been playing a little bit, and the results have not been great. Back-to-back missed cuts for him. I'll probably pass on Mr. Seifert this week. Nick Taylor, he's a hoop guy, but again, the results have not been great. He did make the cut at the Wells Fargo T26 in lineups where I'm getting exposure to the top tier. I don't hate locking in a little bit of Nick Taylor. Benny On is 6.3K, and it kind of stands out as a guy that's typically not down in this range. He again has not been great, but he did make the cut last week, fired a nice round at the PGA Championship round 4, 68. So he's potentially in the player pool as well. But the one guy that, I'm playing down here for sure, and I don't care. I don't know if he's going to be highly owned or whatnot, but Vincent Whaley, I have no clue why 6.2K. He has made 8 straight cuts, and that includes 6 straight T36s or better. 6.2K. I'm definitely willing to play some Vincent Whaley this week. Really like him, but again, this is going to be a range where I go pretty light. It just is not very appealing this week.
Yeah, I get that. I can understand that. Uncle T, let's kick it over to you. What are you doing with this range?
Yeah, let me start at the bottom since Hoop talked about Whaley. He brings up really good points. Did he get in because of Louis withdrawing? Do you guys know? Didn't he get in the field by that, or do you know? Not that it matters.
He was an alternate. Yeah, one of the first withdrawals. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I do think he will. Again, if 7 or 8% is high owned down there, which it is, but I think it's going to be hard to get away from him. You bring up good points for the value, and if you want to somehow jam in a 10, one of them 10K guys, and maybe a Zalatoris or an Answer or guys like that we talked about up top, you may need a guy like Whaley, down there to kind of fill your build. Another guy down towards the bottom, I do kind of have a little bit of interest in if you wanted to go down there, Denny McCarthy, 6,300, similar to Whaley. Just feels like he brings a little bit of hope for a punt down there. Again, none of these guys are going to make you feel good about yourself. But as we go back up towards the top, Luke List is a guy that had a 6th place finish a couple tournaments ago that started to show some signs, but he's a guy you really can't trust. Go down a little bit more, but we tried JT Poston last week at the short price tag, and that didn't pan out too well for us. So I don't think I'll be going back there. Warrenski's an interesting one because, again, out of the guys down here below, 6,800 feels like, if he can get his game back up, a couple made cuts in a row after a couple miss. I do like Warrenski a little bit. Wyndham Clark's going to be my fade. I think people are going to be on Wyndham Clark a little bit this week, and I don't think it's the greatest setup for Wyndham Clark. We've been on him in certain tournaments the last couple of weeks, and I don't think this one's it. I'd rather go down to 6,700. Brian Stewart is a guy I kind of like this week. And if you go down a little bit further, Mackenzie Hughes or Mac Hughes, I kind of like him, but he's been in such poor form. He's got some decent course history, I believe here. Where's Mac Hughes at? Yeah, he's got an 8th. Maybe not as good as I thought, but so maybe I'll pass on Mackenzie Hughes. Danny Lee, if you went by course history only of guys down here, he's got some really good course history. 3 top 22 finishes, but he's been in horrible form, missing 4 of his last 5 cuts. So,
Texas guy, right? Texas guy?
I think so. Yeah. So maybe a little bit of interest in Danny Lee. I actually, more I look at this, I do like Brian Stewart at 67, but I kind of like Lee, McCarthy, and Whaley, like really down low. So that's about all I got, AP, for the 7 or 6K range.
Yeah, that Danny Lee call, that's interesting. He's a Texas guy, like that makes sense. Let me pull up. So for me, JT Poston is a little interesting. He missed a cut last week, but he made it T26 at the Wells Fargo. Putter's good. He has good history here. Has made 3 of the last 4 cuts. He's a good putter too. So a little bit of interest in him. Richie Warrenski, I like him. He's a guy that I just, Hoop, you obviously introduced us all to. And he gets, like, once he starts out, when he makes 2 cuts, it's like that 3rd cut's coming. And then he's always trying to post these high finishes, T30 or something to complement kind of a stud and value build. So I like him. Scott Piercy, another Texas guy that has some decent history here, a T7 in 17. a T19 and 2019. I'll have a little sprinkle of him. The one guy who I'll say, a little notebook play of the week. I'm gonna skip him real quick just to see if there's any other plays down here. It's pretty dusty, so I think you guys already mentioned it. Vincent Whaley, obviously, very good cut maker. There we go. We got it. Imagine
we got the materials.
Imagine if I said so. Like, I'm on this Texas guy theme. Imagine if I came out and said Jimmy Walker for the notebook play. He's not. But he made the cut last week. Gosh, he's dusty. He T64, and I swear I saw him chip in twice. But man, his game has definitely taken a dive. I'm not recommending him at all. I think Whaley would be a much better punt. The Binion mention, I think, is really interesting. I do think this guy, so like his game's going to turn the corner here soon. It wouldn't surprise me if it did at a ball striker type of course. So I will have Binion in my MME pool. I'm not going to have a lot of them. He's going to be one of those guys that maybe tailors. Maybe what I do is I take 10% of my builds and we go that stud. That's where maybe we try to do something like a double Spieth JT, get, a Binion, like get really different, like a Binion and someone else to make that work just for like a sliver of my builds of my 150. But we'll see, to be determined for sure. The guy that I like in this range, he's not a guy I play at all, but I've done some digging. I've looked into him. I've looked at his recent stuff. T7 at the Byron Nelson is actually, if you pull up his card, it's pretty impressive. He's got only like two missed cuts, which was at the Wells Fargo and the Honda. Outside of that, 13th at the Corrales Punta Cana, 34th at the Valero Texas Open, 18th at the Farmers. AT&T made the cut. Puerto Rico made the cut. Valspar made the cut. And then a 7th at the Byron Nelson. This guy's game is trending in the right direction. Cut maker, good golfer, very good tee to green golfer. Joseph Bramlett. He is 6,700. And I just, his putter's been bad. The interesting thing is his putter's been bad. It's just been hit or miss, up and down. His ball striking has been phenomenal. So Joseph Bramlett, I believe he's one of those guys too. I think I read something where he needs high finishes because I think he's like 133rd or 140th, and he to get into the tournament at the end of the year. So he needs a couple more high finishes to secure his spot in the FedEx. That's what it is, FedEx tournament at the end of the year. Plenty motivated, ranks highly in my model if you want to, if you care about that, and has some good there's some good records on these Texas courses. So that is my favorite play, or the notebook play in this range. Do you have a favorite play in this range?
It's going to be Whaley. Whaley's my favorite, and the guy I'm going to circle back, and I didn't really touch on him. I believe Uncle T brought him up, but Denny McCarthy is another guy, 6.3K. I just feel like if I'm going in the 6K range, I'm going all the way down here. Denny McCarthy, 6.3K seems really, really cheap.
You know who loves Denny McCarthy too? Loves him.
Hopefully it's Snyder.
It's Snyder.
Yes, let's go.
Snyder loves Denny McCarthy.
Let's
loves
go.
him. Like, oh man, had him in there last week at the PGA Championship, and I sent that GIF like the Who. Didn't he make the cut too?
Yeah. Yep. He's made the cut like 7 events.
Yeah, and if you guys look at to talk about McCarthy too, and I do like him and Whaley Hoop. I like those calls. He's 125 to 1. But if you look at him down there with guys in that area, he's sandwiched in with like 250 to 1, 200 to 1, 175, 200 to 1. So he's again, you're looking at punts all the way down there. I'm not saying it's a great value to play as an outright, but if you look at it, and I'm going to talk about it here in my outrights in a minute, but if you look at Vegas odds relative to where they're priced at here and around those guys, that's stuff that I look at probably more than most. Yeah,
I like that. Speaking of that, let's let's keep it with you, Uncle T. Let's go to our winners. We always pick two. Maybe someone that is the odds don't really matter, and then a longer shot, which I always love longer shots at events like this. It's tougher at the major championships because outside of last week, obviously, but usually we're getting one of those studs up top that takes it home. But who are you on, Uncle T?
Yeah, for my guy kind of up top with no price involved, I'm going to go down a little bit from the top tier. I'm going to go to Joaquin Neiman, $9,300. I'm going to go with Joaquin Neiman. I've shown him 25-1, so he'll be my outright up top. I just feel like a win is coming for this guy. He's just been playing such good golf. Again, course sets up well, 19 straight cuts. I think he might get it done this week in Texas. And my guy down below is going to be Emiliano Griot. And again, if you look at the odds, he's the 25th or so price golfer. He's 40-1 right now on DK Sportsbook. So again, do I think he has huge upside to win? Maybe not, but at 40-1, he's sandwiched in, again, guys 60-1, 70-1. So again, if I play that narrative, I really like Emiliano Griot as maybe an outright this week down below.
Yeah, I like that. I can get on board. Hoop, what about you?
I'm going to go Abe Answer. Really like Abe Answer this week. I mean, he's really close to that win, and he's just playing such phenomenal golf. So Answer up top, come down a little bit. Harold Varner. Harold Varner makes the cut. He typically contends or has a good finish. So give me Harold Varner as my long shot.
Yeah, I like it. One I already mentioned, Charlie Hoffman. I definitely going to fire an outright on him. I don't want to use him though. I got two long shots that I absolutely love outside of Hoffman, who I love. You had Hoffman at 35. I'm showing 40.
Yeah, 35.
35. Okay.
35.
Maybe what I'm looking at is a little old. Brandt Snedegar. I have him at 60-1. I don't know if that's still what he's at DraftKings, but I like Snedeker. He's going to get a win here soon. Wouldn't surprise me if it happened this week.
66-1.
The other guy is, when we got on Doc Redman, we were also very high on Sammy Burns last year when that all went down. Sammy Burns, a guy that, we were on long time ago, got a win a couple weeks ago. Doc Redman, I think 110-1. That is going to be my guy. He was right there at the last tournament he was at. He got a little taste of it at the end. Now we get a little bit tougher of a track, which I think could help him, assuming that because he can make birdies. He just has to avoid those big numbers, which I do believe that he can do when his game is on point. He's going to be a guy that gets a win at some point in time, as long as he manages the course effectively, which I think he's going to do this week. He is my long shot at 110-1. Uncle T, any final thoughts this week?
No, looking forward to it. Again, we usually have a little bit of a major hangover, right? This week, at least I am for sure. A little let down after you watch that major and all the build up of that. But no, next week we got a fairly quick turnaround. After this week, we go to the Memorial for Jack's Place, where John Rahm will defend there, and then we go to the RBC Canadian Open, and then it's Torrey Pines mid-June for the U.S. Open. So again, we got to, like I said all the time, it's a good stretch of golf if you're a golf fan. So looking forward to it.
Phenomenal stretch of golf for sure, and no hangovers for the RPS crew, Uncle T.
Yep.
We're going to smash this week. We're going to bounce back in a massive ways. I'm very, very confident about that. Hoop, final thoughts this week.
Yeah, looking forward to the event. Bounce back definitely is in order. All the content should be finished up tomorrow morning. We'll have the playbook out. We'll have the cash chart. We'll have the core plays, the tiers, all that should start rolling in tomorrow morning. So keep an eye out. If you're not already a member, head on over to runpuresports.com. We still have that promo going. RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off your first payment on a monthly package over at Run Sports. All sports included, one price. I've seen content sites around the industry today touting a price tag on their MLB package alone. The same price as every sport on Run Pure Sports. So they say, okay, for $80 a month, you get baseball. At Run Pure Sports, we say for $80 a month, you get every single sport, NASCAR, MMA, tennis, all the main sports, NFL, MLB, NHL, NBA, PGA, $80, every single sport, DFS covered. Other sites, $80, one sport. So head on over to Run Pure Sports and check us out.
Yeah, I believe I know exactly what you're referencing. It's a pinned tweet. And yeah, I mean, maybe that guy thinks it's a good value. It's a shitty value. I would never sign up there. And someone needs to go in there and subtweet that or do that who GIF, the who that we always do. So
find it and tweet, say Run Pure Sports. This price gets you everything. Over here, you get baseball. This is a freaking ripoff.
Go do that. We might go and look and throw you a shirt or something like that. Yeah, guys, I think this is going to be a great week. I always like this event. I love these Texas events. I feel like we get on these Texas guys and they always come through for us. So very excited for this week. It's going to be a ton of fun. Playbook will be out first thing in the morning, cash chart, etc. Everything's going to be up, core plays. And then we have the Wednesday show again tomorrow. And I believe there might be a special guest on it. JSU was telling me, I don't know who yet, but he said that there might be a special guest. So make sure to tune in tomorrow night. With that, we are out of here with me, AP, Uncle T, and Hoop. Run Pure, everyone.